Like, what the fuck even is this? Now look, it doesn't take a genius to see just how predatory the gaming sphere has become in recent years. I mean, I remember back in the day, the most exciting thing you'd see is Girl Gone Gamer or maybe Sniper Wolf in their thumbnails. But now it seems you can't even browse a single category or even open an app without someone flashing you. And look, I'm not here to be your moral compass or tell you how to live your lives, but what I'm saying is sex work and gaming should not exist within the same sphere. And I think this really goes back to when a certain Brit came twirling onto our screens. Now, Belle Delphine was really like the first prominent name to really market this sexy e-girl brand in that way and unsurprisingly succeed. Since Belle Delphine, there's been multitudes of copycats trying to exact her look, her image, her content, you name it. It's like the multiverse out there. In much of the same way Boxy inspired an entire generation of quirky scene girls, Belle Delphine inspired a generation of degeneration. I mean, just search up the Belle Delphine effect and you'll be bombarded with her lookalikes. And this wouldn't be much of an issue if their main target audience wasn't literal children. To the point back when Cutie Cinderella at a streaming award decided Fansly would be the best thing to promote to the young audience members. Like, hey kids, got a favorite streamer? Come watch them. Got a favorite anime? There's an OF for that. Favorite game character? There's an OF for that. Favorite comic book character? You see where I'm going with this. Genuinely, what is this video? I mean, who is this targeted to? It's either bait softcore content or it's for literal children. And I must ask why Belle would be making content for children. Now for me, the main issue with this is that it sets a terrible precedent for both young boys and girls. For boys, I mean, you're asking them to respect and not sexualize women, but at the same time, every woman he sees online has an OnlyFans and their body all over their page. And for girls, it's almost like you're telling them to be successful, you have to have an OnlyFans or sexualize yourself in some capacity, like you won't make it off sheer personality or talent these days. And really, that's exactly what they do. They find young marketable girls in the gaming community and send them DMs of proposals for OnlyFans contracts without even verifying an age first. And I'm using waifu Mia here, who has apparently been 19 for God only knows how long, because she's the only one that I know of personally who has sent minors these kinds of proposals. And I only know this because I've been in the space a while, not necessarily making content, but more, I guess, behind the scenes, if you will. But I'm sure you could find any of the major ones do it. Now, obviously, I don't think they're personally sitting down sending these, but it's more so their management team is likely the one browsing these young girls and DMing them. And in any other context, that would be textbook grooming. Fuck it, in this context, it's still grooming. And I think there seriously needs to be some accountability for agencies who operate that way, because in no way, shape, or form should you proposition a minor for sex work. That is just disgusting. Now look, I used to be a good little Christian boy, okay? I ironed my clothes, read my Bible, got on my knees for them. What I'm saying is, even if I, when I first joined TikTok, was greeted with videos like this.
Ice cream? 早上好中国，现在我要冰淇淋，我喜欢冰淇淋。
Which at first seemed innocent enough, until my girlfriend at the time notified me of it being softcore content. I was actually very confused initially, but after spending some time on the app, I then realized the wretched hive of scum and villainy it really was.
Wretched hive of scum and villainy.
And I feel like that's how a lot of these young men find these pages, find their Twitters, and then before you know it, they're just another degenerate gooner doomer. You know, it used to be hustlers and playboys, but now it's just everywhere you look. I mean, it's almost impossible to find a female gaming creator that isn't promoting an OnlyFans to tons of children that watch them, or making weird e-content in some way. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of examples of weird men in the space that do similar things, but I feel like that's a completely different topic.
But Saber, they're just trying to make money. They're not hurting anyone.
Look, I get that, but drug dealers are too, and they still attribute to people's addictions. And I think back specifically to people like Hannah Owo, because for a while there, she as well created a little cult of young girls that wanted to be like her, people that looked up to her, and she didn't really do anything other than harmless gamer girl TikToks. It was kind of admirable for someone to be that big off just harmless content. And then she threw that all down the drain and you never really heard from her again. And I know personally people who were disappointed with that decision and how it showed us yet again that to get a name for yourself, this is what these young girls will do, and how it took yet another role model away from girls who looked up to her. I mean, it happened almost the second she turned 18, and you'll see this more and more in the space with these trendy e-girls. It's become almost an expectation that when a female creator turns 18, that she's just supposed to have an OF up and running the next day. And I say a lot of this largely because I know some girls personally in the space that got pulled into this type of thinking and then regretted it not long after. But by then you've already ruined your digital footprint, and to me it just has created such a weird atmosphere that's very hypersexual within the gaming community. One, I would like to see shit back towards, just raw talent and skill and entertainment. Kind of what games were supposed to be about before people decided that also needed to be sexualized. And I get men are largely to blame for this. I mean, who are the main consumers of this content? Who are the people you see in the comments and streams? Who are the creators you see exposed the most? But I feel like we're at a stalemate, because at the same time women, especially in the gaming community, are pushing back against this over-sexualism and harassment while just trying to enjoy a game.
Bitch, that's why I recorded your voice and I just beat my dick to it. If you win, I'll give you this fucking schmeat.
I didn't really want that, so.
Oh, be honest with me.
My ult's ready.
Do you know what feels like?
No, I don't actually.
Well, do you want to know?
Are you saying you're gonna rape me?
Because you're heading on the right path right now.
We have the other half actively sexualizing themselves and making it their entire identity to be some desirable gamer girl. Now, of course, in no way does that excuse the types of behavior seen in that video, or one similar to it. And you shouldn't assume any girl is okay with being sexualized just because you saw one or even 100 that are. But when you're a young boy, constantly seeing it everywhere you look, the lines tend to get a little blurred. So what I'm trying to convey is that when young boys are raised around certain environments, that's going to reflect in the way they interact, how they view things, and especially when insulting people. And when you raise someone in an environment full of this type of sexual content, it's only going to create more young men that grow up to be old creeps. Just the other day I was talking with a well-known cosplayer, whom I will not disclose, but she tells me how she was just trying to make friends in the space, and within a few minutes into the convo, he starts talking about how cosplay is one of his fantasies. And that was the end of that, really. And in no way is this the only case. We've all seen those tweets of how desperate these men can be and how hard it is for women to simply play a game without some form of sexual harassment or advancement. And you could attribute it to a few things, but you can't tell me the main catalyst isn't the rise of these sexualized e-girl types. It makes these people think that every cosplayer or every gamer girl is some type of deviant and interested in joining their goon circle. They've created an entirely new category pretty much, with all of them just copy and pasting the same template for these men to drool over. And especially on Twitter or X, where you have no say in who sees what, so all these young people just have complete unlimited access to their favorite streamers' porn. It's just weird. And so I guess I'm kind of talking about two different issues here. One being the predatory behavior on the gaming community, and the other being the targeting of minors within the community. But I feel like they go hand in hand pretty well here. Now obviously every streamer isn't going to be family friendly, and every game isn't exclusively for children, but when you consider all the factors and the content a lot of them make towards a certain audience, and how easy it is to come across on these platforms, it becomes very apparent why kids are becoming so sexual and unhinged these days. But yeah, just had to do a hot take on this one because it's something that's only becoming more prevalent, and I guess it kind of begs the question if we should even allow adult content at 18. I mean, it's literally only used for barely legal type videos, which truthfully are only there for PDF files. So why the fuck are we encouraging this type of degeneracy to begin with? I don't know, I'm just a voice. But on a side note, I do appreciate the support and comments on my last video. I'm in no way stopping the usual content. This is just something that's been marinating on my mind for a little bit. But yeah, if you want to stick around, drop a like, leave a sub, and I'll see you in the next.